We're just getting our distance and stuff figured out so we can make sure that you guys can see me on the floor and stuff. So give us a couple seconds and we'll get started soon, okay? So if I'm back here, you still can't see.
I can back up even more.
Yeah, probably back up a little bit more. There we go. Can you hand me my phone? I'm also gonna tag just a couple of people that I promised I would tag. No, not here. Yes. There you are. Okay. Okie doke. We're also getting set up on Instagram too. All right, looks like we're good to go on Insta. All right, I think we're pretty good. I think we can go ahead and get started. Can you see me kind of on the, like if I sit on the floor? Can you see? Good to go on Insta. We're just making sure that we can all be seen on the floor, or that I can be seen on the floor. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Hey everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this ball to stop rolling. It's not going to. Anyway, Dr. Alexis here at ACDS Medicine Specialist, holding down the fort, keeping clear of Corona 2020. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Peyton. Hey, Ainsley. Hi, everybody on Facebook and everybody on Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. So, as promised, we're going to see how this goes. I haven't worked on my split in a long time, but a lot of people, when I asked about what you wanted to see, asked about tight hamstrings, decreased flexibility, so I was like, okay, well, we'll just give this a try and see what happens. So yeah, you're going to watch me live, try to see if I can improve my flexibility, which I haven't tried in a long time, so wish me luck. I'll talk through what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I'm actually going to take my sweatshirt off. I've got another shirt on under here, so give me just a second. All right, friends. Here we go. So, where do we start? Usually, with something like a tight hamstring, which again was what you guys wanted to know more information about. If you're doing all the things, if you're doing all the stretching, if you're doing all the wall splits and everything that you can think of and it's not working, usually that's just a signal that there's another part of the body that's being held up. Tight hamstrings are usually very frequently used as compensators for a weak core. So that's what we're going to look at in me today, because admittingly I have not been working out as much as I probably should. So core stuff is probably a little bit offline. So we're going to see what the effects are of stabilizing my core a little bit more, can be for improving my hamstring flexibility, and specifically we're going to look at it in a split. So first we're going to look at my splits, no judgment. And actually, let's see. There you go. So you can do a before and after photo on that one. Sorry, I've got a friend here helping me. I'm not talking to the ghost in the building or anything. All right, here we go. Hopefully you can see this. And actually, I'll take my shoes off. and slide just a little bit. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is gonna hurt already. Alrighty. Okay. That's what I got for my right leg. Ooh. And yes, I'm feeling most of my restriction right along this hamstring and a little bit right here in the front of my thigh. So on my right split, I'm feeling some tightness here and definitely along my hamstring. All right, left front split. Okay, not too bad. About right in there. Ooh. And it's the same thing. So on the left side, I'm feeling restrictions right here, my left hamstring, and again on the front of my right thigh. Ugh. All right. So first thing that we're going to do is, actually step one was to look at your motion. So I looked at my two splits and I figured out, or I noted to myself where I felt my restriction. So when my right leg was forward, it was right hamstring, left quad. When my left leg was forward, it was left hamstring, right quad, okay? Focusing on the hamstrings, that usually means that they're holding on a little too tight for stability. So, got to fire up some stabilizers. I'm going to do this in 3 ways, okay? You should be able to see the edge of this bar. I'm going to use this very similarly to how I would use a door frame or a resistance tubing. I need to move it a little bit this way. Okay. Is that better? Can you guys see that? Okay. So, if you've seen any of my videos on YouTube, you've seen this. It's the resisted rotation, so that's what I'm going to do. So, I'm going to inhale, exhale, and press. So I'm pushing in to the bar here. I'm pressing in as a function of rotation of my core. So I'm not just moving my arms to the side. I'm actually physically rotating in and applying my pressure that way into the bar. You should be able to feel activation on the side that you're pushing to. So when I'm pushing to my right against the bar, I feel activation on my right side. So I'm going to do about 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right, I'm going to do the other side. 1, 2. This is firing up rotational stabilizers, like your internal and external obliques. Also your transverse abdominis, but those 3 usually. 4 and 5. Okay. Second thing that I'm going to do is just a basic side plank. Just to get side stabilizers of the back and the hip kicking in as well. So hopefully you can see me pretty good. I'm just going to do 5 on each side. Do not judge me. I've not done this in forever. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh. 4, 5. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. And then the last stabilization exercise I'm going to do, you may have heard me call it a lift and twist, if you've worked with me before. And that is to open up and start activating, again, lower transverse abdominis and internal and external obliques to help strengthen them for the power of producing rotation. Sometimes we're tight in our splits because our hamstrings are holding on. This isn't able to release and open up to allow one leg to extend to the front and to the back. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in our Q&A session as well. So I'll cross one leg over the other. I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to do a slight hip lift, and I'm going to twist to the opposite direction of the leg that's planted. So in this direction, I'm going to lift and twist to the left. And other side. Okay, so why did we do those 3 exercises? Because how I always say it is you have to give before you can get. So in order to get your hamstrings to release, they're usually tight because they're compensating for stability. So in order for you to get your hamstrings to release, you need to give stability where it should be. So after that, I'm actually going to do a couple more rotations. I'm going to go back and do 5 more rotations. Then I did 5 to that side, 5 to the other side. Alrighty, moment of truth. Before we even start rolling, let's see what we got. Oh, we got an after picture. So, again, you got to give before you can get. We stabilized, we fired up rotational stabilizers. We looked at just lateral stabilizers. We fired up those in the core area. And then we did a lift and twist for a little bit more rotational stability. See what we got. Ready? There we go. So there's my right leg. And there's my left leg. Woohoo! And I can tell you what went away. What went away was the restrictions in both of the fronts of my thighs. Where I was saying I was feeling quad restriction on this leg when I was facing this way, and on this leg when I was facing that way. That's gone now. All that's left now is a little bit of hamstring tension. It's less. So I'm going to roll out. So if you can't see, with our nice little Bella logo, I'm going to roll out my hamstrings to get a little bit more mobility there. So rolling is my version, is my alternative to static stretching. I'm not a huge fan of static stretcher. Us old school gals, and guys I guess, do love a good static stretch sometimes. So it is something that I do for me personally. It's not necessarily something that I recommend for the majority of my clients. I like for them to roll. So you can look for a tender spot. I haven't quite found one yet, but I'm kind of just going, yeah, there it is. Right in there. So about a minute or two. Gonna roll each hamstring, see what happens. If you guys have questions, don't forget, I'm going to be doing, in about 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to do a Q&A session as well. So I'll clean up a little bit and then I'll be in front of the computer to answer your questions. So hang out with me or DM me what your questions are so that I can go ahead and answer them. I know we got a couple submitted last night when I posted that I was going to be doing Q&A. But I'll definitely talk about and recap what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. There it is. Ooh, girl. My right leg actually felt a little tighter, so I'm going to go back to that side for a minute or so. Yeah, right in there. It was raining earlier this morning in Phoenix, but now the sun is coming out. It's looking beautiful. We're at a cool and crisp, I don't know, like 62, low 60s degrees right now. It's nice. Too bad we're not supposed to be going out because of stinking corona. All right, so I rolled out both of my hamstrings and ready for pictures? All right, let's see what we got. Ooh, nice one. There. There's my right side. And there's my left side. Cool. So my next restriction, and we're always looking for what's the next restriction. My next restriction is inner thigh. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and do inner thigh as well. I feel a little bit more on my right side, so I'll do my right side really quick, and that'll be the last roll that I do. I think you guys are getting the picture. Hopefully what you're getting is the biggest change really just came from that first round of just doing the core stabilization, firing up my rotational stabilizers and my lateral stabilizers. That's what gave us the most significant change. Then we can start working on rolling to increase muscular mobility or extensibility. I hope you can see me down here. I think you can. So right now, I'm just rolling the places where I felt most restricted on that last split trial. Nothing other than that. So when you're working with your students or your dancers, you'll just be asking them, where do you feel restricted next? The key is continue with your stability while you're continuing to work on flexibility, whether you're rolling, whether you're doing some type of dynamic stretch, whatever you're using for stretching. Match it up with some type of core stabilization at least to start, so you can start seeing your results. Oh, and right there. Jeez. Oh, okay. Last time. A little bit of hamstring tension, but like I said, I think we can all agree that the biggest change was achieved when I just fired up my core stabilizers. That started opening up hips more for mobility, and that's the point that I was hoping to show you and wanted to make. So there you go, guys. Make sure that you give before you get. Yeah, in order to get flexibility, 99% of the time you've got to give stability, usually in the core area. I'll give you one more tip, because a lot of you still teach children and adolescents. Braces. If you're not following me, follow me on Insta or Facebook Messenger at AZ Dance Med. But everybody has an appreciation for core stability having to do with the spine, and everybody knows that your neck is the top part of your spine. But sometimes we forget to realize that that means that your neck is part of your core. And one of the biggest things that kids and adolescents go through that disrupts the tension and the stability of their upper core, aka their neck, is when they get braces slapped on. So anybody that you got that's got braces, especially after they go to the orthodontics to get the braces tightened or rubber bands switched out, sometimes they come into class and can be a little wonky. That can just be the same thing, giving a little bit of stability in that area. And in order to kind of stabilize the jaw, the quick and easiest way that I tell instructors and dance educators is actually, I know it sounds backwards, but it is to massage. So if you got somebody that's got braces, they're struggling with flexibility, you've done lower core activities, exercises, the rotational stabilization that I did up against the bar that you can also do up against a door frame, you've done side planks, you've done the lift and twist that I showed you, have them do, I'll come a little bit closer so that you guys can see. have them do a nice little jaw massage. It doesn't have to be super aggressive. Also, under the chin. Again, they can use their thumbs. There's also a video of this on my YouTube page, so if you miss it here, check it out on my YouTube page as well. But yeah, get this a little bit warmed up as well. That can also give you a little bit of a bang for your buck for your kids with braces. So, there you go, friends. I hope that this opportunity or this experience was a good one. I hope everybody's staying healthy, hunkered down wherever you are. I'm doing good in Phoenix. The clinic is technically still open because we've always only seen people one-on-one anyway. We have a very low staff, so we're still open and seeing clients at your safety. But what we're also doing is offering from now through April 30th all of our clinic visits, whether you come into the clinic or see us online, are just a flat rate of $99. So if you're interested in doing any private conditioning, any injury management sessions or assessment. Teachers, if you want a coaching session, this is time you get to get it. It's like almost $200 off or something right now because I'm just doing flat rate for everything. So if you want to sign up for a one-on-one coaching session via Zoom, ask me all the questions that you want about your dancers or anything like that, totally. Give us a call, we'll get you set up. What else? You guys already got to me here, but if you didn't know, you can follow us on Instagram. We're AZ Dance Med on Instagram. Our YouTube channel has an exercise vault with lots of different common exercises that I use for my dance clients, and you can just get there by Googling YouTube AZ Dance Medicine Specialist. That's the only thing that isn't at AZ Dance Med for me right now, but I'm trying to change it. So there you go, guys. I'm glad my splits are doing a little bit better today, so hopefully you can take what we learned and help some of your dancers out. I'm going to take just a couple of seconds, put things back into the clinic. Hold on, I'm getting a note. What does the note say? Can you explain what makes this helpful? Ooh, somebody named Elizabeth asked me to explain what makes this helpful. I'm not exactly sure what that means. So if you can hang out, whoever Elizabeth is, if you can hang out for about 10 minutes, I'm going to transition and get in front of the computer and do the Q&A stuff. If you want to type in your question more specifically, I'll be more than happy to answer that. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what you mean. Was there anything else? No? Okay. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to jump off for about 10 minutes, get some water, do a couple pirouettes, I don't know, try some lift and twists and some side planks. Okay, hold on. Oh, it's Elizabeth Erb. Okay. Okay, hold on, Elizabeth. What did you write down again?
On the bar.
You wrote down...
That she was replied.
Can you explain why this is helpful when I was pressing on the bar? Got it. Can I explain why that was helpful pressing on the bar? Think of it, it's a resisted rotation exercise. It's an isometric resisted rotation. So if you know what like isometric is, oh, thanks, thanks Stacey. I am activating my obliques and my transverse abdominis in a rotational direction. It's basically the firepower that you need for pirouettes too. It keeps you from compensating, like releasing the early heel or throwing the arms and stuff like that. Most kids and dancers who have a habit of doing that are missing this rotational strength, this rotational push power to go in a rotational direction. So I was pressing up against the bar, which makes it an isometric contraction, which means there isn't a whole lot of movement, but the muscle is still being activated. That's what the purpose of that exercise was. It was to fire up your core stabilizers for rotational movement. Rotational movement is also required within the lower part of the spine for a split, to let one leg go forward and the other leg go backward. That requires some rotational ability. So sometimes giving yourself stability in that area when you want to be flexible, like in a split, having that safety of stability there allows the hips to open. Sorry, jumped in the no, it's totally fine. So I hope that answered your question. If you have more questions, like I said, I'm going to jump off for a second. I'll come back on, and then I'll answer all of you guys' questions. So I'll see you guys back in just a couple of minutes, okay? All right, bye. Give me 5 minutes.